What about that Manchester United? What about that Manchester United? What about them, Pete?
No.
You said you would report back from the Emirates. Was it as corporate as we were talking about?
No, nowhere near. I put a little tweet out at half time just saying that one, Arsenal aren't as good as a lot of people think they are, and that was at half time. And no, United's end was full of proper Reds, lads and lasses. No, it felt like a proper away end, a United away end. So I'm not saying there wasn't some people. It sometimes depends where you sat, but I had a good look around. And because you're on the corner there in our end, it's not an end, it's a corner, you get a good view of what's around you. So, no, for me, it felt like a proper United end, as good as any in the last 10 years.
We've all been a bit giddy, right? Which I think's entirely forgivable last couple of weeks. And I was going to talk about whether Fulham then becomes a true test. They tend to be the kind of bogey side United to struggle against. But then I listened to Talk of the Devils earlier. I found time for that. And I've listened to 5 Live, and I'm pretty sure it's been absolutely done by everyone else. I don't think we've got anything to add. So I will ask you all if you are confident about it and leave it at that.
Yes. 2 goals.
We should say that Roy's coming in and out of somewhere, and we're probably not going to see him tonight. Roy, you are confident that United are going to score 2 and win the game, is what you're saying?
No, we're going to win by 2. We're going to win by 2 goals, and I've got a feeling about winning the 15 games running to the end of the season, which would give us another 45 points. And I'm trying to work out where that would leave us. Would we actually win it, or would we be second?
Right. Someone give Roy his medicine. Do you think that United are going to win?
I do think they're going to win. I love Roy's optimism, and I often share it. I think certainly what's very doable now is a top 4 place. I mean, we're in the top 4 at last. So yeah, I think we'll win tomorrow. I always respect Fulham now. They're a good side. Put us out the cup, didn't they, last year? Got the revenge for that one a couple of years back. So it won't be easy, but I've just got faith now in Carrick and his team. Said for a long time, Andrew, that this was a good team, good players playing badly for whatever reason, mainly because they were playing too rigid a system. Whatever system you try and play, it can't be that rigid. But this team is capable of winning the vast majority of those 45 points, Roy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, You
can see why, though, can't you, Roy? You can see why, Roy, because like United, we've been here before so many times.
Absolutely. But I don't know. I just got a feeling. Carrick, I mean, hey, look at those 3 games he had 4 or 5 years ago. You know, Villarreal, which was difficult. Arsenal, they beat. And Chelsea, they got something. So, you know, he did it then. And we all thought then, a little bit like Van Nistelrooy, hey, you know, he looks the man. He's got the of the dressing room. And Steve Holland, I think, even though at first I thought, well, he's only been brought in because they're going to bring Southgate in the summer. But you know, when you read about his mojo, the things he does, I'm confident that we're going to do well. Okay, we might not win all 15, but I think we're not going to lose many of those 15. Perhaps one. I think we're going to have a great run to the end of the season. I really do.
I don't think you put it.
Sorry, just repeat that.
How many out of the 15?
Yeah, out of the 15. I actually fancy us. I mean, the difficult ones on paper are Liverpool and Villa, which are both at home, and Chelsea away, where we generally play well. Those on paper, are the 3 hardest games we've got. I know you've got Everton away and you've got Tottenham at home and all that, but hey, we're talking now of being confident and going forward. So your Brentford, your Tottenham, Everton away, West Ham, whatever. I think we you know, if we can just escape Dorgu is an unfortunate injury, and you wouldn't have said that 3 weeks ago, would you? Perhaps. But Dorgo is but then again, you've got Kunai who will just automatically slot into his place on the left wing, and bang, you've got even greater scoring potential on paper. It's a great piece of paper I've got here, by the way, which you can't see, but
I think Carl is still looking for a number.
Okay, I think they'll win 13 and draw 2.
Okay, amazing. Right, I'm going to clip that up somehow. How many minutes? Right, we're 6 minutes in. Someone remember that. Let me exhaust Carly before our Travelodge internet runs out. If you've not read Carly's piece in Mancunian Matters, it's worth a look. You have discovered from your amazing data journalism that 93% of Old Trafford's season ticket holders live in the UK. So very few holders in countries with strong top leagues, it says. Outside the UK, it goes Ireland, Norway, and Malta in that order, which I think is a proper feather in the cap of Joe Tedesco and co. When I click on the face of you on this recording, it says actual recording is higher quality, and I'm praying that that is the case, because otherwise what people will have got there is what sounded like all the outtakes from that Cher record with the auto-tune on it. It did improve a little bit towards the end, though. So I think you want to try on data. How strong is the actual data around there? Keep with it. I can hear you now. It's very odd. It's just dropping in and out. It's not the best advert for Travelodge Wi-Fi, which is a great shame because we got other things to talk about that are very germane to you. 3.5% apparently from Ireland anyway, if you didn't get that from what Carly was just saying in her David Guetta produced answer there. And to be representative, therefore, we should have an Irish fan on about once a season or so, which is duly noted, although I do go to Ireland a lot, and I've got signed photographs behind me of Best, McIlroy, Whiteside, and McGrath, and Roy's surname's Kavanagh, so we're probably doing okay. What is
Kavanagh.
harder, Carly, for those? Oh, you're pronouncing like that, are you? Well, it's Cavan. Okay, okay. All right, then. A big shout out to everyone in County Cavan. Carly, what is harder for the overseas season ticket holders then? Is this minimum game attendance quota, right? We will try again. No. And the funniest thing is, your facial expression hasn't changed for a good 6 minutes, but you've been smiling throughout this time while it's broken.
But that's how Cher looks.
We have to keep all the mistakes in too, if you reference them. But well, I don't know how many people switch off in the meantime. Okay, just while I'm waiting, Cream of Manchester 1878, if you want to get in touch with us, and you will find us all on the socials. I will go back to Carly in a second, because we got this email from Billy Slack, who's been a member for years, and says he works shifts, so there's no point getting a season ticket. And what he's saying is he often checks the website for tickets to games he can attend, and they're often available but at a much higher price than face value. So is the club stopping touts by pocketing this cash, like a 50-60 quid ticket for between 200 and 400 quid depending on the game? It seems, he says, the club's identified ticket touting as another income source. So anyway, I've asked around about this. Definitely the club want the money more than the touts do. We think, right, so these are padded seats with a meal that are being sold at this inflated price. They're like a meal in a bar at Victoria Warehouse, something like that, and they seem to try and flog as many as they can before the game, and then they convert them with a little bit of time to go, 10 days, 2 weeks or whatever, back to normal pricing for members. So effectively capitalising on people who are prepared to pay over the odds to get a ticket well ahead of match day rather than taking a chance. Now, Carly, I can see that your facial expression's changed, so let's see. Is that about right? And what's it all about? Because that kind of stuff definitely feeds the protest. The way that United treat effectively members, people who maybe live closely and decide closer to the game if they're going to go, it's people who've been going a long time but don't see season ticket holding as a necessity, or season ticket holders who cannot get to every game. They're the kind of bunch of people who you kind of would constitute, I would suggest, quite a large percentage of all of our mates. So these are the people who are probably not being treated very well by the club at the minute, and that's the kind of thing that really feeds process. Is that right? Is that fair? I think there was a kind of we got most of an answer there. So I am gonna move on and thank you, Carly, for trying to join us under very trying circumstances. So just like from what we know, that ticketing office now, they do have to meet these kind of revenue targets and stuff. So it is not a massive surprise that this kind of stuff happens. But I think the idea behind it, surely from a supporter's point of view, is that the Barcelona style thing that we're familiar with, where you expect that tourists will be sort of putting a mad seat up in the gods and pay over the odds for the Camp Nou experience is kind of all very well if it A, keeps prices down elsewhere, and B, leads to some kind of success. So anyway, in their hands, isn't it? But maybe don't kill the golden goose. If it is a golden goose, or is it just the goose that lays the golden egg? Anyway, you're processing, aren't you, Roy? You're at the front tomorrow because your job is pyrotechnics.
Yes, very much so. In fact, can you get Carly's picture where it says Roy and I could talk and tell you?
Because, yes, I want to come to your Fulham story, actually. I'm going to come to it in the second half when we're going to have a bit more fun. I wanted to say on this theme anyway about it. Are you joining Pete? Are you going there before the game? What do you make of it? Because it's behind it are this group called the 1958 who've done this a few times. They're much more camera shy than previous sort of the Emusa and Must and so on have been in the past. What do you make of it?
Is that to Roy, Andrew?
No, that's to you. That's to you. I will come to Roy immediately afterwards.
Oh no, sorry,
I think that. Yeah, the reason that Roy's not on camera, I've just worked out, is because he is preparing those fireworks and he doesn't want to get identified by those new police facial recognition cameras that they keep using without any mandate.
It's very good. We'll let him do that. I'm up for the protest. It's measured, in my view, by a couple of things. I've been on all the Glazer protests right since the start in 2005. So that's 21 years now. That's a third of the time I've been watching United. It's amazing how long they've been in. The fact is, I guess 12 months or so ago, we knew the Glazers weren't going to go. The Glazers will go when they're ready, when they get the right price. From their point of view, they've made a brilliant investment. If you bought a share or a house or a diamond ring for that price and it'd gone up to the price it is now to sell United, you'd be well off. And that's what we're in it for. And I think we've kind of accepted that, even though we don't like it. So what
Especially
I saw
if I bought
was
it with someone else's money, yeah.
Well, yes, that's true. How they leveraged it was another matter. But when you can't get exactly what you want, sometimes you have to go for a compromise. And I thought the Ineos Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming in was perhaps a good conduit, or the conduit we needed, the fans need to the club. Because what's been missing from the Glazers is that feeling of warmth from them about embracing our loyalty. It's just never been there. I thought we'd get more from Sir Jim, given that he says he's a United fan of old, and that he gets probably more of the culture being British. But he's had a really bad start. What we're taking the seats away from those people in the South Stand that have been sat there for years, season ticket holders, halving the discount on people that are over 65, who are not just day trippers or Johnny-come-latelys. They've watched United for decades. The Dan Ashworth appointment, then sacking. And then, I suppose, lately, Ruben Amrin appointment, which I think as that goes further in the rearview mirror, look even more stupid as time goes on. So he's not helped himself at all. So we protest still. I don't think it's going to get any results that we want. In fact, I'm not sure we've got a unified view of what results we want. What I think will happen is, and what I think's exacerbated this lately, is the poor form and the poor results. So the poor performances and the poor results. If Carrick can turn it around, it'll give Radcliffe and Ineos a little bit more breathing space, because I think they've got some good ideas, but they've acted too quick and without compassion. And they've done it in a time where the football's been the worst I've seen in 50 years. So I'll support the protest. Don't expect any outcome in that sense. I'll be more interested what happens in the 90 minutes after the protest.
Roy, Jim Radcliffe is Big Red from Failsworth. Do you buy it?
No. No, because I wrote him a letter saying, when you first went to United, when you said you went to United, do you remember Warren Bradley on the wing? Because Warren Bradley would have been the right winger then, who we got from Bishop Auckland. A lovely letter, which I didn't get a reply. But then again, I was assured it was actually handed to him. So I must have upset him. No, I don't. I think Pete was absolutely right there. When we first had this mooted, it did look an ideal conduit to the Glazers. It looks as though, hang on, English, Manchester, whatever, Bob to buying in, and this is going to be better. But it's difficult. I mean, it's such a huge club, and again, like Pete mentioned, the Glazers pulled off one of the great heists in legally buying United, and then criminally, from our point of view, turning all their buying power back onto the club as a debt. And then we didn't go mad at them when we had the good times with Fergie and everything.
Mm.
So they're going to be around until someone's daft enough. If they were 4.8 billion really today, if someone comes along with 6 billion, but why would you? I mean, if all the people with money tell you they were 4.8 billion, why are you going to come in with 6 billion or something like that? So I'm afraid we stuck with them really, and the protests, and I admire people like Pete and all this lot, 1958, all of it. But at the end of the day, I'm afraid it's above us all. Really, it's money, and it's just not going to happen.
Oh, well, it's not been the most cheerful episode, has it? But you once shot yourself in the face to see Rodney Marsh in the flesh, is that right? Just going back to Fulham.
Well,
I might have got the details.
I'm hoping that one's for Roy.
yeah. I sat alongside Rodney quite a lot with George Best at dinners when I hosted him, and unfortunately, he's deaf in one ear because someone bashed him with an elbow, and he always had to sit on my right-hand side, and it was
I
like
thought you,
bit
I thought you were going to say that was the excuse he gave you to. This fucking Roy's going on again. No, I'm
Yeah.
deaf in that ear, Roy. But I do insist on sitting here.
George, what can we do to get away from him? And it was a bit like Carly's semaphore. It was, whatever. But no, Marsh. I've got better stories about other Fulham legends like Johnny Haynes, which I could tell you if you wish me to.
You said you feigned an injury, right? Just for the privilege of seeing Haynes, is that right?
Well, yes, that was the first part. It was 1958 semi-final FA Cup post Munich. And I was so distraught about it that I hadn't gone to any of the games after Munich. In fact, it was the following September when I could actually bring myself to go when we signed Albert Quicksall. And then I was there again for the rest of my life because they meant so much to me. But the 1958 semi-final was unusually shown live on the television on a Thursday afternoon on the BBC. And I saw this piece of wood with a nail standing up, and I thought, if I bang my foot on that, it's going to bring an explosion, which it did, and a lot of blood, and I couldn't go to school. So I had to put my feet up on, I won't call it a couch, where we lived in the slums of Salford, and watched the 1958 semi-final replay, where we won 5-3 at Highbury. Alec Dawson got a hat-trick. He was only 18. I'm not doubly checked this, I should have done, but he was definitely the first person to ever score a hat trick in a semi final. And I've got a feeling he's still the only person who scored a hat trick in the semi final. Haynes was a dandy boy of the London press, really. They loved him. And the big story with Haynes was that in 1961, when the maximum wage of 20 quid got abolished, the following day, Tommy Trinder, who allegedly was a London comedian but owned Fulham, said, right, I'm going to pay Johnny Haynes £100 a week because he's that good. And Johnny Giles told me that Busby came into the dressing room on the Friday and said, look, Haynes would not get into our team. I'm going to see the board and ask all of you on £20 a week for a pay rise. He came back on the Monday and said, you're going to go to 30 quid a week. And he still looked around and thought, and Johnny Haynes is still on £100 a week at London. But he really was, he was England captain, and the London press absolutely loved him. He was a decent inside left. Wasn't a patch on Bobby Charlton. Absolutely not a patch on Bobby Charlton. But Fulham had him, and they had Jimmy Hill at the time as well in the side. But they were in the second division when we played him in the semi-final in '58.
And
But,
in
you know,
99, I think.
pardon?
And in 99, I think, when
Sixth
Keegan was
round.
in charge. 6th round, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, obviously not
but
the
they've all
99 semi-final, much more famous occasion. But I think that was the only side outside the top flight United played in that cup run, and they were well on the up under Keegan and
yeah.
Fayed. And
But every time we've played them at home, you've just thought we're gonna win by 2 goals every time. And away, you always think we're gonna get something there down by the lovely River Thames and Craven Cottage, and we invariably have done, haven't we? We've had some good, exciting last-minute winners there that I can
I
think
hope
of.
you're right. I sense a lot of nerves about it anyway. Before we go, we're going to call in at the station in Didsbury because before all the excitement of United winning last weekend, we had Liverpool losing at the last minute. Here's our mate Finlay enjoying himself at that. Right at the end of that game. He enjoys it certainly more than the Scouser you can see at the bottom of the picture there. And he ends up telling them if they're upset with United fans being happy at Liverpool losing, maybe Manchester's not the place to watch your football. Anyway, his dog's got no idea what's going on. And by the end of this, he's scaring away some women and children, I think you can see. Just coming into the picture now in fancy dress. Good on him, I say. I thought that was very funny, and it's lovely to have the security footage that we've got. The following day, a lot of us went in there for the Arsenal game. This was including a lot of our mate Justin's family and friends over from Ireland. His funeral was the following day, so we mentioned our mate a couple of weeks ago, taken too soon. This is, I think, Cunha's goal against Arsenal. By the way, just in there, the last chance, I think, tomorrow to buy the current United We Stand if you want to read the full piece. But anyway, that corner of the pub was his, and he used to nearly put the windows through that time when Amad Diallo scored the winner against City, scored the window. City hence the banging on there, previous to which I had held my pint in the air. You can see that it was nearly got taken down. I've then saved Eddie the Gaffer from having to replace his favourite picture, so some real giddiness on there. You've got to enjoy days like that, haven't you? Unless you support Arsenal.
Yeah.
Okay, you. Get back to what you were doing. Protest like mad. Pete's even bringing a brand new banner, but mind them trams.
The Reds.